Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Protection Paladin. Much like I did with the Warrior and the Blood DK, I am going to be talking to you guys about Protection Paladin talents and kind of the potential builds that I've been working with in beta. I understand tuning has not been finished yet, but pre-patch is in a couple of days. I have pre-patch survival guides coming out for Warrior, DK, and Paladin. So I want to give you guys a basics of where I'm working on, like where I'm working from the talents and the builds that I have been running, and kind of give you guys a breakdown. I have an extensive living document in my Patreon, and all patrons do have access to this. So if you do want up-to-date minutes on changes and builds and things like that, you can always join my my Patreon down below. I do have t-shirts for sale as well. Tanks do it better, Blood DK, I'm the healer now shirt, and as well, I only do dungeons fully erect. You can get those at the Teespring link down below. If you want to talk Prop Pally or any other tank, or just join a wonderful group full of people, you can join that at the Discord down below, and I also stream on Twitch. There we go. And of course, like, comment, subscribe. There's all the housekeeping. Help the algorithm. We're trying to hit 5K subs by January 1st. We're so close. We can do it. Let's go. Thank you so much. I'm flabbergasted for all the support. So if you're wondering, my camera is a little bit weird. This is the reason why. You can now see the whole talent tree. That's why. This is the build that I've been running with a couple of flex points moved around. So I do want to kind of break this down and talk. I understand changes may occur, but like I said, pre-patch is coming right around the corner. So, and tanks have seen minimal balancing, aside from poor bears. But tanks have seen minimal to almost no balancing at all, or tuning, in the last couple of weeks. So it's safe to say I think Blizzard's pretty happy where the tanks are, and we're not going to be seeing any sweeping, crazy changes. Before I do get into the talent tree itself, though, if you are going to comment down below, but Avenger Shield doesn't generate holy power anymore, man, the spec sucks, blow it. I don't care. Right? We get it. When they announced Avenger Shield was no longer going to generate holy power, we all kind of had a backlash. We all took a step down from Prop Pally and was like, all right, this is going to suck. But from someone who has actually taken the chance and built around and worked with Prop Pally on the beta for a couple of weeks now, tinkering and finding builds that I like and changing around the playstyles, I can tell you this spec is fluid, it's fun, it has high burst capabilities, and it has all the utility you could possibly need, and you can customize around. It is a ton of fun. Honestly, I've been playing it all day in the beta today with the build that I have set, and I am absolutely in love. But of course, this is, this might not be the final build. There might be, changes that come around, discoveries. I'm still tinkering, but as a whole, this is the core. So on the class side, we're going to put a point in Freedom and a point in Hammer of Wrath. Freedom is kind of a flex point here. I've been running it just to have it, but you don't need it in a lot of keys. Where you need it, it is amazing, but where it's not needed, it's kind of a dead button, so obviously you can flex out of it. If you have another Paladin in the party, like let's say a Holy Paladin, put a point into Auras of Swift Vengeance. Very, very worth it. And of course, Hammer of Wrath is actually pretty integral to this build, so you're going to want to grab that. For keys, you're going to want to go into Blinding Light, Divine Steed, and Fist of Justice. Fist of Justice and Blinding Light were two talents on the same row. Now you can get both. Absolutely fantastic. Cleanse Toxins. This is a flex point. You do not necessarily need this, but again, where there are poison and disease spells, insanely valuable to have. I've been putting a point in Cavalier, but this is also a flex point. So right off the bat, right on the first, we have Freedom, Cavalier, and Cleanse Toxins that you can kind of put around, and if you want to take some different stuff, if you always want to go into auras or whatever, you can kind of change things around as you see fit. Greater Judgment. Judgment causes the target to take 20% increased damage from your next holy power ability. Great. We grab our kick on the right side here, grab Wings, and Holy Aegis, put in a full 2 points. I've been running with Judgment of Light, and with this build and how I've been playing with it, this does pump out some pretty serious healing, especially in AoE scenarios. I've been grabbing Sack and then Recompense. You could also go for the Sacrifice of the Just to have a 1-minute sack if you so choose. Either or is really good. I find the damage from Recompense to be kind of negligible, but it's a point and it's more damage. So that's been my theory there. That's been what I've been working on. Unbreakable Spirit reduces the cooldown of, your good stuff. Great. Grab Bop. This is 5 minutes. You can go with Improved Bop if you so choose. Choice is yours. Seal of Reprisal, Blessed Hammer deals an increased amount of damage, or Shield of the Righteous, but I have been going with Blessed Hammer, and I'll get into that in the spec tree. I have been testing pretty heavily Incandescence and Touch of Light. Touch of Light does little to no damage. It's actually pretty bad. I think the most amount of damage that it did for me, my cat is being vocal again. She's fed. Don't worry, guys. She's in good hands. She just likes to talk a lot. But Incandescence can actually deal anywhere from 5 to 6% of my damage if I am lucky with procs as well and doing pretty good. And just to give you 5 to 6% of my damage, if we remove that from the tree, this is the last key that we did, 36k overall. So really, really good. It was an 11 Algathar's Academy. So lots of fun there. That's a pretty heavy AoE dungeon as well. But I was doing around 29k in Halls of Valor. The capstone here. Now, if you do not like of Dusk Till Dawn, neither do I. I don't like it. I don't want to make it work. Don't want the play style. I tried it against a dummy, and after 30 seconds, I was like, just shoot me in the dick right now. Don't want to do this. So I'm not going to do this. I put 1 point into Aspirations of Divinity. I put 1 point into Seal of Might. I went with Divine Purpose. Divine Purpose is going to help you big time with your Shield of the Righteous uptime, which is a little bit slower than it is in Shadowlands, but it's not anywhere near as bad as you think it may be. Seal of Alacrity for more haste, and Sanctified Wrath. Now this is part of what allows this to kind of work, is Judgment will give you 2 holy power instead of 1 while you're in Wings. So this is why I've been doing this, because this is all about increasing holy power generation as much as possible. So you want Hammer of Wrath and Sanctified Wrath, and then we're going to go down to here, Hallowed Ground for the con damage, Seal of the Crusader, and grab Zealot's Paragon. Hammer of Wrath and Judgment deal an additional amount of damage and extend the duration of Sentinel by 0.5 seconds. I have Sentinel here because I have Sentinel there, but it's Wings, right? Whatever Wings you're talented into, it will increase the duration of it. And the longer you have Wings, the longer you have 2 Judgments, and the longer you have access to Hammer of Wrath on a target at any HP. So you have more holy power generation the longer this goes, which is very, very important to kind of keep this going and keep it fluid. Now, the way that my rotation changed is Blessed Hammer. It's always been like Blessed Hammer, Judgment, Blessed Hammer, Judgment. But what I would be doing in Wings is always changing which one I'm attacking. So it'd be like Hammer of the Wrath, Judgment, click over to a next one, Judgment, Blessed Hammer, Judgment, and always try and keep your Judgments more on cooldown than they would in Wings, than they would outside of Wings, right? Outside of Wings, it goes into a very well-balanced rotation of, Blessed Hammer, Judgment, Blessed Hammer, Judgment, while you're peppering in your Avenger's Shield and your other abilities kind of through the mix as they come up. But you're getting into that fluid motion, which I actually felt was really, really good. Then we go over to the spec tree, Avenger's Shield, Blessed Hammer. The reason we're going with Blessed Hammer here and not Hammer of the Righteous is nothing to do with the damage component. It has everything to do with on-demand holy power generation. And 3 charges is better than 2. So, yeah, that's where I'm going with that. It's on demand. It's really good. While you're kiting, you can just Blessed Hammer, get some holy power, get your Brez off if you have to, whatever have you not. This just flows a little bit more fluid with the class, with the spec, sorry, and works very, very well. Redoubt, because you're almost seeing, you're gonna get almost no uptime on Inner Light at all. I've been going with Redoubt, sorry. Put 1 point in a Holy Shield, Grand Crusader, and Shining Light. Then go down to Consecration and Flame and Ardent Defender to grab your cheat death. After this, I go down here, so we're going to go into the next row for Bulwark of Order. Now, this was just nerfed pretty significantly. This was 100%, and this was 100% before, and it's now down to 50, but it still does a chunk load of healing, right? So there's definitely a lot of good things to see there. Then I go down to Tears Enforcer. This is really important, but we're going to talk about Tears Enforcer when we get down to Divine Toll and grab Resolute Defender, because Resolute Defender now actually reduces Ardent Defender cooldown and Bubble. So both of those things are really, really good, especially if you play around them. And then here I go in Strength and Adversity. This was actually a YouTube comment that told me people were sleeping on this. So I decided to try this out for myself. And in all honesty, I think people are sleeping on Strength and Adversity. For each target hit by Avenger's Shield, you gain 2% parry for 15 seconds. This goes up to 10%. Our tier bonus gives us another 4% parry. So basically, it's very easy to upkeep a 14% parry bonus, which does work with Grand Crusader very, very well. It pairs very nicely, and it just adds extra defensive. We're usually shield classes don't care that much about parry. Like, they do, it's nice to have, but it's not something that you're after. When you're talking about passive parry bonus that you're getting from just having tier and a 1-point talent for an extra 10%, honestly, it starts synergizing very, very well with your kit and actually kind of makes it more worthwhile, especially because you're not investing a ton to get it. Then I go down here and I grab Strength of Conviction. So while you're in your Consecration, you always should be, your Shield of the Righteous and Word of Glory have 20% increased damage and healing. And then Crusader's Judgment. This gives us our second charge of Judgment, and it's very, very important to have and keep. And it also reduces the cooldown of it by 3 seconds. So this is going to allow you to throw out judgments like crazy. Going down the middle here, I opted for Sentinel. I am opting for being as tanky as can be, and Sentinel is the new ability that gives you 15 stacks of 2% DR and 2% max HP. After 5 seconds, those stacks start diminishing, and every 3 holy power that you spend, so using a holy power ability, will delay that stack by 1 second. So what you want to do here is you really want to prioritize generating as much holy power as possible in Wings, which you're getting that with Judgment and Hammer of Wrath. You're no longer getting that with Avenger's Shield, but that's completely fine because you're getting a lot of other good stuff with Avenger's Shield. And Avenger's Shield does a buttload of damage. Really, it's pretty good. This really flows well with one another and allows you to kind of really keep this going for a decent while and keeps your defensives up, allows you to be more tanky while you have a 20% increase bonus to damage. You can go with Avenging Wrath Might, which will give you an extra critical strike chance for your Wings. This is purely an offensive benefit, where Sentinel is pretty much purely a defensive benefit, but it does allow you to be insanely tanky for good amounts of time on a degrading DR system. Grab Guardian of Ancient Kings, and that pretty much sums up our middle. There is a flex point here with Relentless Inquisitor. You can go with Inspiring Vanguard if you so choose, or you can go with Barricade of Faith. I think those would be the 3 best options. Barricade of Faith, when you use Avenger's Shield, you gain 10% increased block chance for by 10% for 10 seconds. Inspiring Vanguard, your Grand Crusader proc is up to 20% instead of 15, and it grants you 2% strength. But in the early stages, where I was been absolutely dying to find more secondary stats, haste, mastery, whatever I can find, this has been the play for me. As well, so one of your flex points here as well, I did forget this, is 2 points into Seal of Might. I was testing something else and I forgot, but I've been putting 2 points into Test of Might, so while you have Wings, you have 8% Mastery. Relentless Inquisitor has been the play for me here, because it gives you a nice 3% haste buff that is up all the time and doesn't require much, and right now, in the early stages of Dragonflight, we're going to be trying to find as many secondaries as we can, and a 1-point talent for 3% haste is pretty good, and I do enjoy it, but if you want to pick the other two, perfectly fine. You can do whatever you want. For Mythic Plus, you're obviously going to go with Soaring Shield, Focus Enmity for Raid, 2 points in the Gift of the Golden Valkyr, so each enemy hit by Avenger's Shield reduces the remaining cooldown of Kings by 1 second. So in AoE, 5 targets, Soaring Shield, 5 seconds. Whenever you drop below 30%, you become infused with Kings for 4 seconds. Cannot occur more than once every 45 seconds. This is actually a really solid ability. Solid 2 points to put in. Really, really good. This is going to help bring Kings down. Then I put 2 points into Righteous Protector. Each holy power spent reduces the remaining cooldown on Wings and Guardian of Ancient Kings by 1 second. Now, currently, Righteous Protector is a little bugged, but whatever. This is going to allow you to have Kings a lot more often. I got this down to about 2 minutes 45-ish with Divine Toll and all that fun stuff. But yeah, next we go Divine Toll, and I go with Quickened Invocations. This is going to just simply allow you to have more Divine Toll casts in a in a dungeon where Divine Resonance might give you more Avenger Shields because you're going to be letting out more Avenger Shield as the time goes on with the Resonance. This is just going to allow you to nuke more often. And with Tears Enforcer, Divine Toll is absolutely a nuke. Your Avenger Shield is imbued with Holy Fire, causing it to deal holy damage to all enemies within 5 yards of each target hit. This deals good damage just by hitting Avenger Shield, but by unleashing 5 Avenger Shield on a pole that is nicely packed, you are just wrecking face. Throughout the beta, I have been, so especially today, I hit anywhere between 120 and 165k bursts with wings and Divine Toll up, and it was not difficult to do. Like literally, you just pull with your Judgment, your shield, get things in, and then once things are in and you have the pull where you want it, just unleash, and it's nice. But you don't want to run in on pull with this Divine Toll and Tears Enforcer, because the more things are spread out, the less things are going to bounce around with your Tears Enforcer nuke. After that, I opt for Final Stand. There is an argument to be made for Eye of Tyr, which is kind of your demo shout, which is a 25% DR for 9 seconds. The damage is actually not that great. It's not going to equate to much overall for you, but it does equate to some overall. So if you want a purely offensive, defensive, Eye of Tyr is really good. But with Final Stand, taunts all targets within 15 yards, 8-second immunity for Bubble, and you're already reducing the cooldown of Bubble anyway. So it's 3 minutes, and you're pretty much capable of getting that down to 2 minutes 20, 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes 30 pretty easily, 2 minutes 20. So a 2.5 minute full immunity where you don't lose threat. Pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, pretty good. The problem with Final Stand currently in Shadowlands is it's been on a talent row with Righteous Protector, and Righteous Protector gives you more wings, so you obviously want that more than you want Final Stand, but Final Stand is really good, and this just adds to your defensive toolkit that you have plenty of. So with Sentinel, Kings, and Ardent Defender and Bubble, you really don't need much more, which is why I'm opting out of Eye of Tyr, but you can absolutely put a point in here and go for it. Bulwark of Righteous Fury, this is our legendary from Shadowlands, coming back, and is just absolutely solid. Now we have 1 point left. Put it wherever you want. Take what you need. Go, if you want Consecrated Ground, you can put it there. If you want Inspiring Vanguard, Barricade of Faith, I would stay out of Bastion of Light. Personally, I think it's a weak 2 minute cooldown. You can also go with Faith's Armor, Farron Marcus's Fervor. Put it wherever you want. Uther's Counsel as well will reduce the cooldown on Lay on Hands, Divine Shield, Bop, Spell Warding by another 20%. This is actually going to give you a 2.8 minute cooldown on Bubble, so you're pretty easily get it down to like a 2 minute 10 cooldown. Possibly. I haven't done any testing with Uther's Counsel because I've been very happy with where Bubble is. Whenever I needed it, I seem to always have it. So I'm very, very happy, but that is a point that you could put it into. My backwards math could be doing a little wrong, or you could be going with Increased Ardent Defender to give you a 30% DR for Ardent Defender on a 1.4 minute cooldown, or you can go with Blessing of Spell Warding. Now, do note with Blessing of Spell Warding now, you can actually have Bop and Spell Warding at the same time. They just share a cooldown. So when you use one, the other goes on CD, which is fine because there are plenty of dungeons that I've been running through Shadowlands where people were asking, like, man, can you take spell warding? I'm like, no, I can't. I don't want to. I bop. That's all you get. But now you can actually choose which one you want for the scenario that you want, and I'm sure there's going to be enough dungeons where on one boss you're going to want to cast spell warding, and 5 minutes later on another boss you're going to want to cast bop. Right? So having access to both is pretty huge, but you can actually put this last talent point where you want. So with that, this is the build that I've been running for Protection Paladin, and I've been having an absolute blast with it. It's been so fun. It's been so fun to just heal as much as possible, help with healing whenever I needed to. I tried Light of the Titans. Light of the Titans was actually pretty good for a while, but it kind of got nerfed into Oblivion, and now it's like 2% of my total healing, or 1.5%. It hasn't been too great, but in all honesty, like, if we start looking at the damage breakdown, Shield of the Righteous is doing fantastic damage. Avenger Shield combined with Tears Enforcer, 28% of my damage. great. Consecration feels good. Judgment feels good. Blessed Hammer feels weak, but we're mostly taking it for the holy power generation and not the damage. This one here, I had a bug where I couldn't cast Hammer of Wrath for like the last half of the dungeon. It was really, really weird, but things happen. Incandescence as well. You're going to see it between 2 and 4% usually. Holy Shield does its thing. Recompense, I cast Sack like once, so it doesn't really count. The healer in the dungeon that we did here was actually crazy. There's a certain something bugger with Surging Breeze, a Vial of Air, and Dispriest. They're just absolutely killing it with that. But Bulwark of Order is still going to be 50% of your damage, and you have all of these healing, and you still have all of these things. And I did cast quite a few wogs, and I'm kind of surprised at like Light of the Titans. And then I went back and looked at some of my other runs, and Light of the Titans seems to be kind of underperforming a little bit. Where your basic wog with all of the talents that you're taking to increase damage or healing and things like that is kind of strong on its own. And a 2-point investment in Light of the Titan to get Hand of the Protector is really not a great investment. You're sacrificing a lot to be able to get there. But this is where I think I'm going to kind of land on and tinker from here. There are a couple of things, like I said, that you can change around, like I said. But I have to say, it feels fluid, it feels fun. My muscle memory whenever I hit Avenger's Shield always tells me that a holy power is coming, and this is something I just literally need to break, and I have broken it, and it's fine. Honestly, once you just get into the flow of the rotation, this spec is incredibly fun. Divine Toll is even better than in Shadowlands. You're so much more tanky. You really are a lot tankier than what people will believe. I think what happened is when they said, hey, Avenger's Shield no longer generates Divine Toll. Divine Toll does generate 1 holy power, but Avenger's Shield no longer generates holy power. People just lost their minds and doomed the entire damn thing. And I think that was wrong, and I think people are really sleeping on Prot Paladin. So if you are a Prot Paladin watching this, I actually think you're going to love this. There is of Dusk and Dawn build where you go with Seal of Order down here. I fucking hate it. Anybody that likes it, great. I'm happy for you. Really am. I don't like it. I don't like the playstyle, but I understand it is a playstyle and that is going to be differing opinions. I just don't share it. This is the playstyle that I had stupid amounts of fun with, and honestly, I felt just as tanky on my Prot Paladin as I did my Warrior. I felt really, really good all across the board. I had a little bit of more health spikes than I did with Warrior, but I always had something to get me out of it, right? There was always a quick wog right around the corner. There was always something without losing like any Shield of the Righteous uptime or anything at all. So that is Prot Paladin in a nutshell, because I am going to be putting out a pre-patch guide for Prot Paladin. So I want to kind of put this out to give you the general consensus on where I think things are, because I have a lot of things to cover in the pre-patch with Covenants, Soulbinds, Conduits, talents, and the whole thing. I kind of wanted to put out a breakdown of it first, but there is an extensive living document, like I said, in my patrons, so I'm going to leave it here. Big thank you to my patrons for allowing, this kind of stuff to happen. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good day, and thank you very much for listening. Bye.